Lions fans, this is urgent. This is inside, and it won't sit on the table for long. Something moved behind closed doors, and the ripple can hit our secondary before the rest of the division even blinks. If you care about January football and you hate learning big news late, you're in the right place right now. There's a conversation in N. Allen Park that didn't exist last week. It's fresh, it's bold, and it cuts to the heart of what this team wants to be when the weather turns ugly and the games turn honest. The kind of conversation that asks, without flinching, do you protect the future or do you accelerate the present? Here's what we're going to unpack today: why the Lions are re-examining the cornerback room after a rough opening stretch, why the timing matters with the trade window warming up, and how a specific physical profile at corner could transform what Aaron Glenn can call on 3rd and 7. We'll talk about the pressure on a young talent, the value of length and recovery speed on the boundary, and the price tag the front office can actually live with. I'll show you why this idea looks reckless at first glance and strangely logical after a second look. Welcome back to Lions News Fan Report. If you want the real Detroit conversation football, cap, locker room, no fluff, hit subscribe, ring the bell, and drop a like so this gets to more diehards before the story hardens. This channel runs on you, and today we're going all the way in. Let's set the stage. The Lions are a contender that wants its defense to travel. Dan Campbell and Brad Holmes have built a culture that punches the same way in September and in late January. But the margin for error against top quarterbacks is thin, and thin margins expose your corners. Detroit knows it. The league knows it. Terrion Arnold is in the spotlight. Second-year corners live on a roller coaster: step forward 1 week, target practice the next. He's been tested early and often, and yes, he surrendered yards and scores that sting. But he's also the kind of competitor you want to bet on long-term. Smart, tough, wired the right way. The question isn't whether he can play. It's whether the timeline of his growth matches the urgency of this roster. Around that question lives another debate that won't go away. Add more edge juice or shore up the back end first. Pass rush makes coverage look better. Coverage buys the rush an extra heartbeat. Detroit has veterans who can hold a line, but the explosive, long-armed eraser on the outside, the kind who closes a window even after he's lost, that type is rare. When you chase a Lombardi, rare becomes necessary. Somewhere out west sits that prototype. Long as a streetlight. Turns and runs like a wideout. Not perfect, not a safe harbor, but a ceiling that makes defensive coaches greedy. His snaps have dipped, his market is watching, and the contract calendar is real. He's the kind of player who can make a coordinator aggressive again. Now put yourself in a war room for a second. Phones on the table. Whiteboard split between 2025 runway and 2026 core. You've got a young corner you drafted high, a veteran room that can cover for him in spots, and a potential shot to grab a ball hawk with rare traits at a price your cap can breathe with today. Risk on both sides, reward on both sides. What do you do? Here's the scenario being discussed. A straight swap that would turn the Lions' corner room on its head. Riq Woolen to Detroit. Terrion Arnold to Seattle. No 3-team maze, no late pick sweeteners in the headline, just a clean, old-school 1-for-1 that lines up two teams with different timelines and different needs. It's not done. It's not guaranteed. It is real enough to analyze like adults. Why would Detroit even consider it? Start with profile. Woolen brings elite length at 6'4", long speed, and recovery range that lets you play press without living in fear of a double move. In man, he can mirror most vertical routes. In zone, his wingspan narrows windows that look open to quarterbacks. That lets Aaron Glenn call coverages with more teeth, roll the safety where he wants, and bait throws he plans to steal. And yes, we have to talk production. Through the early going, Arnold has been challenged and punished 241 yards, 2 scores on 16 completions in 3 weeks. That doesn't define him, but it does define the present. Woolen has had his own dip, fewer snaps. A passer rating allow you don't frame on the wall. and 152 yards on 11 grabs with a touchdown across 4 games, but the traits haven't changed. You're buying variance with the belief that the ceiling wins playoff downs. Contract matters next. Woolen sits in a contract year. That's leverage for Detroit. If you make the move, you get the player into your building, test the fit, and if he's your guy, you extend on your terms before the market explodes in March. If he isn't, you didn't marry the risk long term. Meanwhile, Seattle gets a first-round corner on a rookie deal to develop at their pace. Both front offices can sell the logic to their owners. What about culture? Detroit has built one of the league's clearest identities: effort, accountability, and joy. Woolen has been a Pro Bowler. He's handled sled drill coaching in public, and he's played through ups and downs. Put him next to DJ Reed and Amik Robertson, and you get a room with edge and experience. You also lighten Arnold's load by moving him to a place that develops long corners in a system tailored to them. It's not a punishment. It's a fit conversation. Scheme is where it gets fun. With Woolen, you can press the line and take away the first read outside. That gives your rush a beat longer, and your blitz looks get louder. Third and medium turns from survive the option route to challenge the goal ball and squeeze the comeback. If you trust your safeties to overlap, you start stealing throws that would have been safe completions last month. Now, the cost. If this is straight up, you're moving off a player you invested heavy capital in after one rocky month of year. 2. That's bold, and it opens you up to criticism if Arnold pops in a new environment. But swings win titles. If you believe Woolen flips 2 drives, a game-1 incompletion forced by length, 1 ball dislodged by recovery, you're changing field position and scoreboard math in January. There's also the calendar. The trade window isn't endless, and Detroit's schedule isn't patient. You've got heavyweight offenses coming. Every week you wait is a week a rival tries something aggressive of their own. If you think this helps, you do it before the first snow hits the practice field. Let's be real about the downside. Woolen's tape has lapses eyes in the backfield, an occasional high pad level that gives away the break point, and handsy contact that can trigger flags in high leverage moments. If that shows up in Detroit, you're swapping one set of problems for another. Coaching has to be confident it can tighten those screws fast and be fair to Arnold. He's smart, he studies, and he battles. There's a strong chance he settles, and the numbers normalize by Thanksgiving. If that happens in a Honolulu blue jersey, you protected a long-term asset and saved a premium pick you would have spent elsewhere next spring. That's the conservative play, and it could be right. So where does that leave us? With a choice that reveals how Detroit views its window. If you see this roster as ready right now, you chase traits that tilt playoff snaps. If you see it as a 2-year runway, you invest reps in your first rounder and keep your powder dry. There's no coward's path here. Both options carry weight. Tell me what you think below. Do you make the swap today? Yes or no? And why? If you're a yes, is it because of scheme, contract, or pure playoff upside? If you're a no, is it faith in Arnold or concern about Woolen's volatility? I want the full picture from the fan base that watches every snap and remembers every 4-quarter out route. My take. I'd do it if and only if the extension number for Woolen lands in a range that keeps the core intact and the staff is confident in tightening his technique. This is a speculation based on fit, timing, and trajectory, not a report of a completed deal.